Before the video starts, please like, subscribe, and comment. Any interaction will help me greatly. My goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers by January 2026. And also please watch until the very end, it's the least I ask for, thank you.
I think we all know that every fandom has that one ship, the one that started off harmless and somehow turned into a chaotic mess of bad tropes, over-sexualization, and fanon so strong it basically overwrites canon. And in the danganronpa community? Yeah, that ship is Ishimondo. Today, we're not talking about whether you're allowed to ship it. We're talking about what the fandom did to it, how a few headcanons snowballed into a complete reimagining of both characters, and how the ship became more about fetish aesthetics than anything that actually exists in the game. So let's get into it. How the Ishimondo fandom completely ruined Ishimondo. Now, if you weren't very much in the danganronpa fandom, you'd probably think these two would have interacted a bunch. Maybe even hinted at something. But you'd be dead wrong. Yes, you heard me correctly, these two barely interacted. And while that's not a bad thing, people ship characters with one scene together all the time. There's a reason I bring this up. Because the entire Ishimondo ship is built on interactions that simply don't exist. Their dynamic isn't slow burn, it's not enemies to lovers, it's not even friends to lovers. It's just two dudes who shouted at each other, had a good friendship that lasted probably 30 minutes, and ended up dying before anything could even form. So let's talk about their actual canon interactions, because once you look at what really happens, it becomes pretty obvious why this ship relies on fanon more than anything in the game. Their biggest moment is an argument. Not romantic tension, not emotional bonding, just two strong personalities clashing. Ishimaru's rule-obsessed, Mondo's impulsive, and they butt heads the same way everyone in the cast does at some point. There's no special connection there. It's not framed as meaningful or foreshadowing anything deeper. It's literally just a disagreement. Now, to be fair, I'm not saying they hated each other. In fact, by the time we see them in Chapter 2, they've actually become pretty decent friends. Not best friends, not narrative foils. Just two guys who bonded the same way everyone else in the cast eventually does once the initial tension dies down. They work out together, Mondo respects Ishimaru's drive, Ishimaru admires Mondo's strength. Simple, normal character development. And honestly, that friendship is cute. It's wholesome. However, and this is me going off their canon interactions, there's no hidden romantic subtext, no slow build emotional intimacy, no meaningful one-on-one scenes that deepen their connection. But when Mondo died, that's a whole different topic now. Because this is the moment where a lot of people think the ship suddenly has emotional weight. But in reality, the emotions in that scene have nothing to do with Ishimaru romantically. Mondo's death hits everyone hard. It's the second trial, tensions are high, and the group is still trying to figure out how to trust each other. I'm not sure if the other students were aware of this, but Mondo was actually Kiyotaka's only real friend. So naturally, Mondo's death is going to hit hard on him, but I fear people really misinterpret this specific scene, and play it off as romantic, rather than how devastating it actually is. So, let me give you a reminder of Kiyotaka's character. His entire personality is built around structure, rules, responsibility, and being a moral anchor. And suddenly, someone he respected, trusted, and believed in, dies because of a moment of emotional collapse Taka couldn't stop. The breakdown isn't romantic, it's psychological. Taka's spiral isn't heartbroken lover energy. It's identity crisis, self-blame, and trauma response. You've seen him quite literally shut down, as if he ran out of battery or something. It's honestly very upsetting, and the raw, heartbreaking moment is ruined by Kiyotaka. I don't think I need to strain on their canon events pretty longer, so I want to go over how some mischaracterize the characters. We'll start off with Kiyotaka Ishimaru. According to popular headcanons, Taka is touch-starved, because he grew up very strict and never had real, affectionate friends, so when he does get physical contact, he freezes up, blushes, and is emotionally overwhelmed. From this original poster, I don't think they had any bad intentions with trying to baby him, and it does make sense when you think about it. But the fandom takes that idea and completely runs it into the ground. What I mean by that is that people will now headcanon or treat his character as weak, small, etc. And if you know literally anything about kiyotaka, you'll know this is the exact opposite. So when people take the touch-starved idea and twist it into Taka is soft, submissive, tiny, dependent, shy, helpless, weak, that's where the mischaracterization hits. Like I mentioned in my Chihiro video, which you should watch after this one, mischaracterization erases that entire character and who they are supposed to represent. And trust me, for the longest time, I despised Kiyotaka just because his fanon was more stronger than his canon. He's emotional, yes, but not in this fragile baby bird way the fandom pushes onto him. In canon, Taka is one of the strongest personalities in the entire cast. He's loud, driven, focused, and constantly trying to be better. Now we gotta talk about Mondo, because the fandom does the same thing to him, just in the opposite direction. People don't baby Mondo, they turn him into a walking stereotype. And it always ends up being one of two extremes. 1. The over-exaggerated, tough guy, daddy, trope. This is the big one. In a lot of Ishimondo fanon, Mondo gets rewritten as this super dominant, hyper-masculine, bad boy, who takes control of everything. He's portrayed as the big, scary, aggressive one, the one who corrupts Taka, the dominant half of the ship, the overly confident one, basically a walking fetish trope. 2. The aggressive, uncontrollable stereotype. This one especially sucks because it turns his trauma and guilt into a kink. In canon, his temper is tied to panic, stress, and fear of failure. It's something he struggles with, not something that's sexy. But in fanon, it becomes. He gets jealous easily, he throws Taka around, he pins him against walls, he gets violent when flustered. All those cliches. It makes him look abusive instead of vulnerable. Which I always thought was so strange to do, given his character and his entire arc. So, you might be asking me, why does it matter? Well, because once you start rewriting Mondo and Taka into these exaggerated stereotypes, the tiny, soft, helpless honor student and the big, aggressive, always dominant biker, you're not just making harmless headcanons anymore. You're stripping away who they actually are in canon. You're flattening two complicated, flawed, emotional characters into a cheap aesthetic. And that aesthetic becomes the entire foundation of the ship.
To those who will say, oh, they're fictional. Does it really matter if people are fetishizing them? Yes, it does. Because the problem isn't just what people do with two fictional characters. It's the real-world attitudes hiding underneath it. Quote, fetishization is the reduction of a person to aspects of their body, identity, or relationship structure. A person is found to be attractive solely due to these characteristics and could be exchanged with anyone else with the same characteristics. Fetishization permeates the queer community, existing for and within it. This results in a variety of impacts, all of which are ultimately harmful to some degree. When you fetishize Ishimondo, you're not just twisting Mondo and Kiyotaka, you're playing into the exact same stereotypes that get projected onto real LGBTQ+ people every single day. The idea that queer relationships must have a dominant one and a submissive one. The idea that two men can't be close without it being turned into porn. The idea that queer people's trauma is sexy or angsty entertainment. The idea that masculinity plus vulnerability equals something to eroticize, not understand. And I know, this isn't the only LGBTQ+ ship in the danganronpa fandom that gets fetishized. And that's the big issue here. These aren't harmless fandom quirks. They're reflections of how society constantly turns queer people into tropes, roles, and fetish objects, rather than human beings. And when a fandom repeats those tropes over and over again through a ship like Ishimondo, It reinforces them. It normalizes them. It teaches younger fans that this is what queer dynamics look like.
Stop.
This isn't me saying you can't like Ishimondo. Shipping is supposed to be fun. Self-expression is supposed to be fun. If this ship means something to you, that's valid. You're not a bad person for enjoying fictional characters or dynamics. The problem isn't the ship itself. It's the way parts of the fandom treat it. The fetishization, the stereotyping, the flattening of two really complex characters into something they were never meant to be. You can enjoy a ship without reducing it to harmful tropes. You can explore dynamics without turning trauma into kink fuel. You can be a fan while still respecting the characters and the real people these stereotypes affect. So this isn't a clue-out. This isn't an attack. This is just a reminder. A reminder that ships can be fun and thoughtful, that we can enjoy things without crossing lines, and that being critical of fandom behavior doesn't mean hating the fandom. If you like Ishimondo, cool. If you don't, also cool. But understanding where the problems come from and why people talk about them is how we keep fandom spaces healthier for everyone.